In my 4 years of being a content creator, I've been on the lookout for the perfect lens. A lens that could sit in my camera bag all the time. A lens that wouldn't have to leave my camera. And the search was just freaking hard. I just couldn't find it. Maybe it just wasn't meant to be. Maybe I was forcing it way too hard. Until I found the one. There it was. The one that I have been waiting for. She was thick, gorgeous, and had this beautiful smile. And we immediately hit it off. I mean, it was just love at first sight. That's right, I'm talking about the Tamron 35 to 150mm f2 till f2.8.
Stormy nights don't stay. From the moment that we met, you were worth the wait. Oh.
This lens is just amazing. I just can't tell enough good things about it. In these 3 to 4 years, I had so much freaking gear. I switched lenses all the time, and on top of that, I also switched camera brands. I switched from Canon to Sony, and of course with that comes buying new lenses and selling your older lenses. And I think that by now I finally know what I actually need, and yeah, what's actually just a gimmick. I'm just telling that right now, but I bet that in half a year my opinion is going to change again. So the only two lenses I have right now are the Sigma 24mm f1.4 art lens, which I'm shooting on right now, and this beast. So I've had these beasts for I think almost a year, and I just really love it. I've used it on a lot of trips already. I use it for a lot of POV street photography videos already. It just almost doesn't leave my camera. It barely left my camera in the past year, so I think that says enough. But let's go over the pros and the cons for a bit, alright? And that's the filter diameter thread of this lens. It's only 82mm, and that's a big pro, because when I was still team Canon, I had the Canon RF28-70 f2, and that was a behemoth chunker of a lens. It was a lens with a weight of 1.5 kilograms. That's just a beast. That's just a tank. And that lens had a filter thread size of 95mm. And the reason why that sucked is because not every filter manufacturer makes filters that big. For example, Polar Pro, I couldn't find the Peter McKinnon variable ND filters in 95mm. The zoom range of 35mm to 150mm is such a unique focal length. And you could say that, yeah, but I have the 24 to 70mm already, and I just combine that with the 70 to 200. And that's completely right. But if you think about it, if you would just want to travel with one lens and you are in a specific kind of situation where you couldn't switch your lenses, or you just have to be freaking fast, then this focal length is perfect, because 35mm is still wide enough. I mean, you could just back up a little bit and then you'd still have a wide image. And 150mm is also far enough, in my opinion. And if you want to go a little bit further, you could just use APS-C mode on your camera. So that's why I think the 35 to 150mm is just such a useful focal length. I mean, I would rather take this lens instead of a 24 to 70 and a 70 to 200mm. And Tamron really thought this through, because instead of getting a 70 to 200 from Sony, you could get a 150 to 500mm lens from Tamron, and then you would have like a super sick arsenal of lenses. You could cover the whole focal length of 35 to 500mm with just 2 lenses. That's just freaking mind-blowing and just freaking amazing. I might add that lens in the future, if I have some more spare money of course, to my arsenal. This lens has a variable aperture, but not just a regular one, because this one starts at f2. Yeah, you heard that right. You can shoot at f2 with this lens, and it goes to all the way to f2.8. So let's quickly talk about which aperture you get at which focal length. So between 35 and 38mm, your aperture can go as low as f2. Between 39 and 58mm, you can go as low as f2.2. Between 59 and 79mm, you can go as low as 2.5. And from the 80 to 150mm, the lowest you can go is f2.8. And that makes this lens just super great for low light. I mean, if you still want that creamy bokeh, you can just stop down till f2 at 35 to 38mm, and if you want a super cool zoom perspective, then you can go and shoot at 150mm at f2.8. I mean, what else do you need? And this focal length and these aperture variations make this lens the perfect lens for photography. Honestly, I have really zero complaints about this lens in terms of photography. It's such a great lens. If you want to see this lens in action while taking photos, you should watch this POV street photography video right here. The autofocus is insanely fast. When I was still Team Canon, I used to be a native lens snob. So I basically wanted to buy all the native lenses from the native camera brand. So I only had RF lenses back then because for some reason, I don't know, I just didn't trust third-party manufacturer lenses. But everything changed when I bought the 70 to 180mm f2.8 because that lens convinced me that third-party manufacturer lenses make as good lenses as native manufacturer lenses. And they also come out with lenses with super unique lens characteristics like this one. And this one is just insanely useful, I'm telling you. And this actually convinced me so far that I own 0 native lenses at the moment because I have the Sigma and I have the Tamron. And this is going to save you a lot of money that would allow you to buy a better camera or more lenses to add to your arsenal. And yeah, I mean, they're super great quality. You don't have to be afraid of buying a third-party manufacturer lens. I'm telling you. And it's also great for videography. And if you want to see the lens shining while shooting video, you can check out the Thailand video I made over here, which I shot entirely with this beast. This lens has a lot of freaking buttons. And these are actually pretty useful, especially in scenarios in which that you want to do specific focusing actions. You could set up A/B focusing, and this allows you to smoothly set the focus from one subject to another. You could set focus to a pre-recorded focal point with one click of a button. And of course there's the auto to manual focus button. All of these buttons can be mapped in the Tamron utility app. You can just connect the lens to your computer with the original cable that they've given to you, and then you can do everything you need and want. Let me know in the comments down below if you already thought of picking up this lens. This lens is actually pretty heavy. It comes in at a weight of 1,165 grams, 41 ounces or 2.5 pounds. Yes, this is a big boy. This is one hell of a chunker. I mean, I was talking about the Canon RF 28 to 70mm, but this one is also pretty huge. And with this weight, you also actually start to feel it after a while in your wrist. This lens is actually pretty expensive. It comes at a price tag of 1,800 euros or $1,900. But in my opinion, this price is totally worth it. The variable f-stop can actually be a little bit annoying when shooting video, especially in run and gun situations. Because let's say that you want to go from 35mm to all the way to 150mm, then your f-stop is also going to change from f2 till f2.8. And this means that you're actually going to have to adapt your exposure again to, just have a good exposed image. Another little annoying thing is the fact that, this lens has a lot of buttons, but these buttons can sometimes be a little bit annoying because let's say that you're shooting video and you have a specific focus setting dialed in one of these buttons and you accidentally click it, then you just have to change the setting again. And it's just a tiny thing, but it can be a little bit annoying. And because of the fact that you can actually connect this lens to your computer, it also means that there is like a little USB-C port. But what actually bothers me is that you can't really close it. There is no little door to actually protect this. And that's why I actually bought some USB-C covers for this myself. The annoying thing is that they pretty quickly fall off. So yeah, that's not really a solution either. But luckily this lens is also weather sealed, so I don't think we have to worry about it too much, but still, I would still get some USB-C covers if I were you. Tamron Utility app doesn't actually work that well, and that's especially because of the connection. Because in my experience, when I tried to connect the lens to the laptop, it just couldn't find the lens. And the thing is that you should actually try to connect with the original Tamron USB-C cable that was included in the box. And the problem is, I don't know where mine is. So yeah, I think I just can't use it unless I buy a Tamron USB-C cable, I guess. Stupid me. So guys, should you buy this lens? And I think that my opinion was pretty clear on this. If weight doesn't matter to you and price doesn't matter to you, I mean, it matters to all of us, but if you have saved up a little bit of cash to buy this lens, then I mean, by all means, go for it. Just buy this lens. I have zero regrets that I got this lens. This lens never leaves my camera, especially not on travels. Well, that was it. And YouTube thinks that you should watch this video next.